Hello, and welcome to Silicon Valley Girls Chat Over Tea. I'm Gloria,
And I'm Rosetta.
and in the spirit of kindness and compassion, we want to always suggest that you listen to one another, to be kind to one another.
Yes, we do. Thanks for the weekly reminder, Gloria.
Yes,
Love it. Love it.
yes. So, today, we are always Silicon Valley Girls that chat over tea.
Yes, we are. And we love our teas. So, what do we do always? We talk about our teas first. But before we get going, just want to remind you if you like our videos, hit the thumb icon. Is that the thumb right there?
That's the thumb.
And please, if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel.
Yes.
And we would love it if you could hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of our videos.
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
The tea we're drinking today is another one from Hyley's Organic Green Tea, 7 assorted flavors. Enjoy hot or cold. And today, what are we drinking? Let's see. There's 7 assorted flavors. You know, in the past weeks, we've been doing one per week.
Yes.
And this week is organic green tea with ginger and lemon.
Yes.
All righty. So
Alrighty.
it says here, what are the ingredients here?
Organic green tea,
Okay.
lemon flavor, and ginger. Organic lemon and organic ginger flavors.
Yes, and you know that if you've been watching, we like to smell the tea bags before we actually steep them.
Yes.
And with this particular brand, we haven't been too enthusiastic because it hasn't really had much smell or
Right.
scent to it. Usually we like teas that have more aroma.
Yes. And the more stronger the aroma, the better.
So it really smells just like black tea to me.
Yes. And then we also have, what we do love about Hyley's is they have these little comments on the
Little
tags.
sayings.
So my saying today says, it's not about perfect, it's about effort. I love that. It's not
Always say
about
that.
perfect.
I always say that.
It's
There's-
about effort.
Yes. And my one says, let's see if I can read it. Embrace and love your body. It's the most amazing thing that you will ever own.
Amen.
Yep.
Because when the body is done, you're done. Yeah, I mean, it just can't be much more simpler. So,
Try the tea.
cheers. I love when I crack her up.
Oh, I don't smell anything. Sad, sad, sad.
Green
Oh, it's
tea.
very faint. I can taste a little bit of lemon, not much.
Yeah, I get a lot of green tea. So it's good for us. It's organic. I'm going to just let it breathe a little bit because as you know, the teas, as we let them just sit, the flavor becomes a little bit more intense.
Well, didn't this one say that we're supposed to steep it for
5 minutes.
5 minutes or something, long
Yeah.
time?
Well, we did that last week. I was going to put my top back on, but I'm like, we tried that last week.
Yeah, it
so-
didn't really work.
Didn't really
All
work.
right.
So let's get this party started. So, you know, we always send our thoughts and prayers for the human race. There's so much going on in the world, so many activities. And our thoughts and prayers is that you will always engage with any person or any situation with love, compassion, and kindness. If you can just do that, we can flip the world and change it, make it a better place.
Yes.
Yes. So we just want to acknowledge, you know, because we want to do something that we notice that individuals in the press don't do. They bring up a story line and they drop it. The sky is falling, and you never hear any more about the sky. Did it fall? Didn't it fall? Whatever. So we've been talking to you about Turkey and Syria, and I'm happy to report that the numbers have slowed down. They're so small, it's insignificant as to the amount. It's still around 55,700 combined from the earthquake.
That's still crazy. That's
It's still a lot
yeah.
when we thought it was going to be 25 to 45. So that's a lot. It's just that it has slowed down. So our thoughts and prayers still go out to those families because, you know, you think that you have built your homes to the requirements for the environment. And then you have a catastrophe, and that catastrophe shows the weakness of your designs. So I'm sure that there are people still with them from all over the world. I mean, we sent people to try and help them.
Exactly.
And they're going to do things to rebuild and to try and bring that community back to life. So we just wanted to acknowledge that. Today is like the 22nd. We're in the middle of Women's History Month.
Wow, 22nd. We only have a week,
Yeah, and
just
we'll
a
be-
week or so
and
away
we'll be
from,
out of March.
yeah, into
Yes.
April.
So the Women's History Month was started in 1978 as a local celebration in Santa Rosa, California. Yay, girls! Right here where we live in our local area. The Education Task Force of the Sonoma County, California Commission on the Status of Women actually planned and executed the first celebration. And you see, well, why do this? I'm going to tell you why. Women's History Month empowers young girls around the nation, not just in the United States, around the world. And for me, it fills them with courage, self-esteem, and willpower to walk in their ancestors' shoes. Because if you can spend a day in an area where women are actually celebrated, as a young girl, that will make you feel very good.
It does. And talking about Women's History Month, I wanted, because Gloria touched a little bit about our next generation, right?
Yes.
So I want to talk about the younger kids, because they're going to grow up to be women.
Yes.
And I want to highlight this particular 11-year-old.
Okay, we love that.
Yes, her name is Delaney Dennis. She's 11-year-old, cute little girl. She's from Tampa, Florida, and she raises money for animal rescue, and she was named by the ASPCA Kid of the Year 2022.
Wow.
And I'm going to tell you why, if you don't know. She actually started, she said that she wanted to help rescue animals in different, like, organizations.
Okay.
And the way that she wanted to do it was through raising money. And she told her parents, I'd like to open up a lemonade stand.
How cool.
So she did that in her family's restaurant. So they have the restaurant, they own a little like family restaurant in the neighborhood. And she started, and what they do, she sells lemonade and then they tip them. And I'm going to tell you something. There is, since she's opened, she's raised over $61,000.
Wow.
Yes. So,
Can you imagine that? Wow.
yeah, and all the locals, they go there just so they can like donate towards
support her.
Yes, and the money goes to different rescue centers. So it's not the same one. And it says she actually volunteers when she's not running her lemonade stand. She volunteers for her favorite animal rescue home where her favorite donkey resides.
Oh, how cute.
So that's what she does. And she actually, get this, on top of all this, she has her own adoption fairs.
Wow.
Guess what they're called? Squeeze the Day.
Oh, how cute.
That's what they
Squeeze the day.
Squeeze the Day. And she
Yes.
brings like representatives from different rescue places, and they'll bring some of their animals and talk about their shelters, and they'll bring animals that need to be adopted.
Wow.
So I wanted you to just think about this. Her name again is Delaney Denise, 11-year-old from Tampa, Florida. Maybe do some research on her.
Yeah.
And you might want to, if you're interested, you could support her by donating some money, or if you're in Tampa, Florida,
Yes.
go and visit her. Look her
In
up.
person.
They didn't actually say what the name of the restaurant was,
Right.
which I wish
Right.
they had.
Right.
They just said their local family-owned restaurant. But anyone in Tampa, look her up, and great job.
Yes.
Love it.
I love it. See, from the young to the current to our ancestral, it's all about girls supporting girls at all ages.
Love it.
I do too. So, American Idol is continuing with its journey to find the next Kelly Clarkson, or Ruben Studdard, any great talent like that. And I really like the dynamics of the judges this year. I don't know if they've taken a pill or what, but they've been more emotional. They've been more coachy.
Well, I think that's Katy Perry. She's the one that I feel that she sets the tone for each episode. And since she's had her baby, she's become more maternal, more loving, a bit like Simon Cowell did.
Absolutely.
When he had his son.
Yes, because Simon is way nicer now than he has ever been. And, I love how when the person is singing and she'll go, okay, now bring it home. Bring it home. And then all of a sudden you hear Lionel say, hit that note. I know you got that note. And I mean, before they just kind of sat there and they, no, whatever. Right. Now they're talking. They're also not wasting a lot of time on people. They came out and they actually said a 50-50 is not going to work this season.
Yes.
We're not going for, you have talent and we could talent you up. No, we're going for people who have talent, and now we're going to bring you into, this is what you should sing. This is your lane. This is where you should be. And I like it.
I like it as well.
Yeah. I like it. There was a young man, his name was PJ, and he's 23, and he was over 400 pounds. Remember the big kid?
Yes.
And when you're a curvy person, you just relate to the fact that he was just so sad, and he just didn't care about anything. And, so he's telling his story, and the judges are like, okay. And then the child opens his mouth and he can sing.
Yeah, he can really sing.
That's been the good part for me with American Idol. What do you think? What do you think about the season now that they're building the teams? What do you think?
That's The Voice. When
they're building teams.
Now I'm getting mixed up with American Idol and The Voice.
Yes. No, what they're doing though is they're coming down to the final categories of people of who's going to go to the next level. Because
they haven't given out. I think they've only given out one platinum ticket so far.
One.
And I didn't even think that person was that great. Sorry.
Yeah, I think and this is once again, it's going into the emotions. The story is better than the singing.
The backstory.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we'll keep watching, and we shall see. Guinness Book World Record. They're always doing things, and like Kelly and Ryan, they're always doing stupid stuff like how many shirts can you put on in 60 seconds and things like that. Well, a new Guinness Book record came out this morning.
Okay, and what was that?
The most popular musician on the planet.
On the planet. This is not just USA.
That's right. This is worldwide, and this is not just alive or not. This is number one most popular musician. It's The Weeknd.
Oh.
The Weeknd. The Weeknd has hit 100 million listeners on Spotify this month.
Wow.
Within a 30-day period, a 1 month period. And 111 million listeners is the highest number that has ever hit on Spotify. So, because whenever I think of music, I always think of iTunes. I never think of Spotify.
Well, I think Spotify is what the young kids are gravitating towards, because that's all they listen to. iTunes is not as popular anymore. Did you know that? More people are doing Spotify. So whenever I ask people what they're using on their phone, they say Spotify.
Yeah.
I don't hear a lot of people saying iTunes. Do you? I don't really
hear
that
that's
anymore.
Why Spotify is now number one through and through. 111 million listeners. That's individual listeners. This is not I log on, I log off, I log back on. This is individual listeners in 1 month's time.
I do have to admit, I like The Weeknd. I like his songs.
Well, then you're very happy for him. We've talked about him, like, remember when he did the Super Bowl, and we talked about with all that tape. Because I thought, did you have a nose job? What are you doing with all that tape on your face? However, there are people who really, really like him.
Yes, so I'm surprised he doesn't get nominated for more.
Yeah, so congratulations to you on that. And now, the other music show, The Voice, since I was getting them confused, They are still doing the blinds. They haven't gotten to the teams yet.
The battle rounds.
The battle
but
rounds.
They're finally getting to it because I think Kelly only has like 3 more people to choose.
I think most of them are between 1 and 2, and their teams will be full.
I think so. Yes, you're right. And they showed all the teams like Team Kelly, Team Chance, Team Now, Team Blake, and I think that Team Chance and Team Now have a good chance of winning.
Yes.
Either one of them.
Yes. I mean, I only knew of Chance the Rapper from a lot of the good work that he does. You know, he was, I'm trying to think, someone interviewed him during COVID times because he was at home in his kitchen. I actually think it might have been Kelly, I'm not sure, but it was a talk show host. And the thing about him is he's all into community and helping. He wants to do things to help people, to improve the quality of their life. And I really like that. And when he's listening, I mean, if you watch him, you know, he puts his little head down and he listens.
Yeah.
And what I really love is some singers, all it takes is the first note and he hits his button and he turns around, you know, and then like say at the last second, and one time Kelly turned around and he's like, no, none of this last second thing, because it's hard to compete with Kelly, and he's lost a few times. But the thing is if you listen to what he says, you know, I want to take you on a journey. I can hear the inflections of your voice. I know how to take you to the next level. So I think for the first time, the coaches on both shows are actually really going to focus on the talent.
Yeah, I really like that. And I'm enjoying both.
Yes.
Which one do you prefer? Which one do you like better? I'd like you to comment because we want to know, who are you rooting for?
Yes.
Which team are you rooting for? And
Yes.
Blake is also hilarious again.
Yes.
Always reminding people it's his
last one. And
You'll
you could
be
be the last person on
my last team ever.
Yes.
So he's funny.
There was a young girl, a young woman. Her name was Kate Martin, and it was a 4-chair turn. And she, in her real life, does voiceover work. So, you know, like, you know how sometimes, like, you'll hear something and you're like, that's not, who is that? She does work like that, like a commercial. And so the commercial is taped with the actors, and then she sits in a room and she revoices the voice.
Yeah, because it's very specific what they want, because
yes,
voiceover is not easy.
No.
I've tried a little bit and it's not that easy.
Yes, it's not easy. So she has done that. And when you hear someone talk about voiceovers and doing things like that, you think, well, are you going to fake it, or can you sing? And she had a beautiful, beautiful voice. And, you know, I love some of the backstories and how they tie into the person that we see once they share the story.
Yes, exactly.
So we'll keep an eye on that. It's really, really, really good times. So a lot of us last week were going through oh my God, what's going to happen to the banking industry because of Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank out of New York, New Jersey. And initially, it was very, very frightening because the thing that's going on in the industries right now, in the past, it would be bad planning on your part, and the other banks would just turn and run. This has been the first time that banks are showing up to help other banks. I mean, you know, when that happened here in the United States, we had like JP Chase Morgan, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, you know, coming up and saying, you know, we will stand behind the deposits. You know, anyone that put the money in, their money is solid, everything will be fine. Then all of a sudden, you know, Switzerland came up. And then there were other countries that said, we got you. We're going to fund you so that you will remain solid. So something that potentially could have been catastrophic. They actually are learning how to be good team players with a concept. And they're doing things to help each other out. And for me, I was very impressed just to see the positivity of all of this. And then, you know, we have this little thing floating around called inflation. Now, when those banks were tanking, and the inflation is going high,
Mm.
there was a moment in time where that could have been catastrophic. Because if you go to the bank and you can't get your money and the interest is going up, so even if you had money, you can't afford it, that is like a lose-lose situation. So this morning, the what is that? I got FAA and it's not, I don't know, financials. Well, the feds, that's
Right.
what I call them. It's the federal something something, but the feds.
Federal Reserve or something like
Yes.
that.
So what they actually did is they increased the interest rate once again, but only by a quarter point. So they slowed it down even though it's still going high. And luckily, by the grace, everything is turning out okay. The stock market did not tank, because normally when they raise the interest, everything
Yes.
starts
Yep.
spiraling down.
Yep.
It actually is not spiraling down, and things are trying to stabilize. So everyone just take a woosah moment. Everything is looking good. We've got people actually in office who are trying to make the dollar more solid and keep us all financially sound. So as we hear more, we will let you know. But the feds are staying on top of this, which is good for all of us.
Which is very, very good. Yeah.
So remember, Rosetta had done some research about a company, OpenAI, and we talked about that last week. Well, like I said to her last week, I saw the movie The Terminator, and I know that while it's exciting, artificial intelligence, there has to be caution, because man could create artificial intelligence that believes that it is better than humans, and in fact they don't need humans, and it could become quite destructive. It can be. The thing about it is that we as users of this technology must realize that it's just a repository of information. We cannot start letting it make choices and decisions for us. The thing that they shared on the Today Show, the OpenAI, the company OpenAI, they said that the front is just a portal. It's just an entry point, and then behind it is 20 years of information that has been put on the internet. So as you and I both know, there are truths and there are lies on the internet. Now, when you're just doing a artificial search, and say you search on purple paint, it's just going to deploy everything associated with purple paint. And the purple paint may be good information and it may not be good information. It may show you that there are 15 manufacturers of this paint, and who's organic and who's uses chemicals and who uses fillers. I mean, there's lots and lots of data, but you have to do your research and not just sit there, because some children, they're like, well, let's let it write my papers.
Oh, there's lots of things that kids are doing. They're abusing it. So technology is good, but there's also going to be the downside to it, and kids
Yes.
are already using it to do, well, you've probably heard through social media, using it for essays and
Right.
thesis and things like that, and they're not using their brains.
Right.
So here you go.
That's a bad situation. Do not stop using your mind, because if you stop using your mind, you will succumb to whatever is going on at the present moment. You have to use your mind.
That's what happened when back in the days in school they taught us about money, how to count money, how to give change when you go to a store. Nowadays, the kids, I'm telling you, don't know how to give change for money.
Yeah.
Like if, for example, the product was $15.30
Right.
and someone gave you $20.30, they don't know how to give the change back.
Right. Yeah. They don't
So-
know, they are like 15, 30, okay, it's change to 70 cents. We were taught to think that, even though there was a cash register that told you
Right.
it's kids today, even some adults. I've been in a grocery store and they look at it and then they look at the tray, and I'm like, what the heck are
All
you
you
doing?
need to do is 70 cents and then count up to 20, 70,
Right.
and then whatever.
Right. I mean, it's
70
the
and then-
change that throws them
Yes,
off, because
yes.
then they're like, okay, but Okay, it's 17, so I owe them $3. No, you owe them $2 and 30 cents. That'll make $20.
They don't know because they're so accustomed to using a calculator
Yeah.
that they wouldn't. And even back in the days, they even have like you can. I think now they even have a way where you can put in and it actually tells you the change on the register, right?
yeah.
Exactly how much to give back.
Yes.
And then you'll see the children, the young kids, they just go, okay, here. If it's like $30.20 change, you'll say $30.27.
Yeah.
No, what you need to do is you need to take it and you need to say 20 cents makes 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 instead of just handing them the.
Yeah.
So
that it registers in your mind, because it's that old hand to eye coordination. And this is almost like the internet itself when it was unleashed upon the world. One of the reasons that things seem so catastrophic and wild right now is if there was an earthquake in Turkey, we may or may not have heard about it for weeks. If you didn't know someone who knew someone, it took time.
Right.
This instant, it's jarring. And so we want our children, if you have young ones, please teach them to read. Teach them to love reading. Every night, read them a book.
And make it fun.
Yes.
You can make it fun.
I mean, it used to be so funny because there was this Peter Rabbit book that my son loved, and I was so sick of that book. And one night he told me, because I'm reading the book, but I'm not really, I was having one of those days. So I'm reading the book, and he goes, no, too fast, slow down. So then he takes his hand and he backs the book up, and he goes, let's start over. And then he had heard it so much, it wasn't that he could read. He starts acting like he's reading it.
Yeah. Based
on the page and the picture. And he would say, see the rabbit hop? And I'm like, okay, I know you're too little to read. What is going on here? It was the repetition. And he loved books. I mean, I would go to bookstores and I would buy books. And one of my little nieces just got pregnant. And you know what she asked for? Books.
Yep.
Yeah, and she's like, she goes, the older the better. She goes, even if they're falling apart, because that book has history. So let's try and, think about this. Artificial intelligence is good, but the thing is like, I'll just give you an idea. If you go to Walmart right now and you're entering, on the left-hand side, there's this machine that makes smoothies. There's nobody there. They just turn it on, you push buttons, you tap, it makes the smoothie and it hands it to you. Now, some people think, oh, this is really cool. I, on the hand, is like, because it doesn't let me take down the sugar and add, it doesn't let me customize it. AI is not going to be customizable.
That reminds me, there is, in the shopping center, I forget where it is, you can now go and get your nails done in a machine.
See?
So you can go. They're not going to do everything that a nail whatever the person called nail specialist does. But you go in there. They're not going to cut your cuticles for you.
Right.
They're not going to push it back. They're not going to file it. You go there, and you just pick what color you want, and they'll paint your nails.
Yeah, they take the old one off and they put. So there are things that are coming, and I'm not about stopping the future wave and all of that. We're just saying, be aware that everything on the web is not fact. I mean, they did the sample with Robin Roberts, and they used the software.
Yes.
And it said that she'd won a gold medal. She's never been to the Olympics. So everything is not 100%. Because Michael Strahan was like, Robin, you didn't tell us. And she goes, I didn't tell you because I've never done it. So that's what's going to trip people up.
I didn't even know myself.
Yeah, they're going to be writing these fake theses, and then the teachers and the professors now have a tool that they can run on the back end against the report, and they'll be able to tell. So do your work up front. You don't have to do that. So we just wanted to let you know that this is something that's going to be going forward. And whereas we hear more information, we will share.
It's a blessing and a curse at the same time. Yep.
It really is, because you don't ever want to let something do everything for you. You got to do some of it yourself. So this week in Los Angeles, the school workers, like the janitors and the gardeners, the people who support the schools and keep them clean,
who work for the school district.
There were thousands of them in the street. Now, it's bad for you to protest in the rain, because we've been having rainstorms. And come to find out that these people make $25,000 a year. Just let that resonate in your mind, and think about, even if you don't live in Northern California or Southern California, what we're talking about, even in your community, can a person live on $25,000 a year? Can they survive? Can they have nice things, a nice car, a nice safe place to live? And I just think when it comes to educating our children, tapping on the subject we just stopped, it's important that you have people in place who care about your child and want to take your child to the next level. And I know I'm crazy, I think that what we pay these sports people, we should be looking more that way towards our teachers and our educators.
Oh, exactly. 100% agree with that. Why are the teachers not paid more? We always say that our children spend the most time during the day with our teachers in the schools. Why not pay them more?
Yes.
We can actually start paying them more and including more things like what we said is missing.
Yeah.
How to teach children about behavior.
Yes.
Teach them about finances, taxes and finances. Teach them about health and wellness.
Yes.
And bring back home economics and music.
Yes. And gym, PE.
Yeah.
I mean, I just could not imagine going to school all day long. You build up all of that. And I used to do PE, my last class, so that I didn't have to change out of my clothes, because I wasn't going to shower in front of all them people, because everybody had little peepholes and we knew it. But I just can't imagine that. And like she said, home ec. That was fun. I mean, I was being taught how to cook by my grandmother and my mom, but there were girls in the class that they were like, "What's this stuff? It's rice." What do you do with rice? And I'm like, you boil it. I mean, they were and at the end, we would make a feast, and we would invite everybody to come in and taste the food, and like wood shop, learning how to build a desk, or, I mean, and it was mostly for guys, but girls would go too. And we even had an automotive class.
Yes, I was going to say, what about the vehicles? They don't do that anymore.
No.
We used to have like a garage in the back.
Yes.
And they used to do it there. And then there used to be a wood shop.
Yes.
Specifically on the high school grounds.
Yes.
And all that is taken away. And if you want to learn those, you have to go to vocational school or
Absolutely.
go to your local community college to learn all of that, which is not that convenient, especially if you're going to school all day. Where do you have time to
and
that
when
in?
You're a girl and you go to start your car and it goes tick 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 tick, you used to be able to know how to lift the hood up, see if maybe the cable just slipped off or something. I mean, there were so many things that we were taught to do. And I think sometimes I really believe that these cell phones are a blessing and a curse, because some parents use them to entertain their children when they don't have time, or just because mom comes home from work, that's not the end of her day. She probably has something else, so she tries to come home, get her kids fed, help them with their homework, and then she has to go back and finish whatever she didn't complete. So trust me, I understand. I'm just saying, find some tools that you can figure out the time, even if you're working on a report and your kids are across the way, give them something to do that's with their hands and not so much the computer.
I know we have to get back to the basics of where did we start when we were growing up. We didn't have any of that. And even TVs, we didn't have remote controls for the TVs.
No, you had to get up and change the channel.
Yes, so we did a lot more work.
Rock, paper, scissors to see who had to get up to change the channel.
I remember.
And then at one point, oh my God, I know I'm aging myself. We had antennas, and you had to shape the antenna a certain way to get a signal.
Yes.
And I remember one time I got the signal, And my grandfather, he goes, just stay there. So I'm standing there holding this thing, but I didn't care. We could see
As long as you got
show.
the signal, that's all that mattered. Yeah.
And we just had more family time too, and that's important. It's really, really important. So, once again, let's see how we can improve the quality of lives of people. And instead of doing all these layoffs, I love when I hear that a CEO has just completely eliminated their salary for a year, or they're taking a cut, because, I'm sure if I'm really sure, you could survive on $2 million a year versus 36, it's 1 year. It's not going to hurt. Now, I have been seeing a lot about this lately, and it's concerning. So Rosetta and I wanted to talk a little bit about maternal deaths. There's an alarming maternal death issue going on right now in the world. And this is a global increase in women dying from pregnancy or childbirth. In fact, a death occurs every 2 minutes. Think about that, every 2 minutes. And it's mostly based on economics and social inequities that play a major role. Maternal mortality in the United States has increased 75% in the last 20 years. And women of color face 3 to 4 times more mortality rate than Caucasian women. And, like we were just talking about, when you only make $25,000 a year and you're trying to have a family and you're trying to have a baby and work, sometimes you might push that off because I got to go to work.
Exactly. Have you heard of maternal death, anyone?
If you do, let us know what you've heard.
Yeah, I had not heard of it, but I kind of got a gist of what it was. And it means, I'm going to read you the technical term. It means female deaths from any cause related to or aggravated by pregnancy or its management during pregnancy and childbirth, or within 42 days of termination of pregnancy. And then they say the top 3 causes are preeclampsia and eclampsia, which means high blood pressure.
Right.
The second one is unsafe abortion,
yes,
which is big today. And also, the first 2 was preeclampsia and eclampsia, and then the third one was unsafe abortions. And like Gloria mentioned, it's happening more within the low economic cultures and areas in this nation. And with the Roe versus Wade, it's more of that, because last week I talked about the 5 women that had sued Texas because of the fact that they weren't allowed to get abortions, even in emergency situations.
Right.
And that could have caused, what we're talking about, maternal death.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's something to be aware of. And, I'm the first person to admit, when I feel an ache or a crink or something like that, I don't immediately think go to the doctor. I start, I reach out to my holistic people and I go, this is kind of how I feel. This is what's going on. And I'm very grateful that they're knowledgeable enough that they'll say, okay, that's more than just a crook or a crank. You need to go see a doctor. Or they'll say, maybe you need to go see a chiropractor. See if it's just an adjustment.
Right.
Get on I don't know, I call it the tables where they invert you. So I call it inversion table, where they hang you from your feet and it just stretches out your spine. Something as simple as that can work. However, there are situations where that is not the case. I know a lot of women who, when they're pregnant, all of a sudden they have diabetes. And it's just gestational diabetes. And once they have the baby, it goes away. But those types of complications left unchecked could result in death.
Right. Because the baby could be born very big due to gestational. Yeah. And then it's harder for the woman to give birth, and there could be all sorts of complications.
All sorts. So, we understand that it's just intuitive and natural for a woman to want to nurture and bring forth children. we just want you to be aware that there are certain situations, and for you just to, talk to somebody. You can write us a little message and say, I'd like to chat, because it's, knowledge is power.
Always say that. Always say that. Knowledge is
Knowledge
power.
is power. When you know better, you do better. And that's what we want. We want to help, lower this, because, it's you're going to start hearing more and more about this mortality rate, because it was like people thought, oh yeah, some people. Now it's coming out, and the 3 to 4 ratio of a black woman versus a Caucasian woman, that is just, and there's something sometimes about the economical situation. Whereas if you are a woman of status, and I don't mean president or anything, I mean you have insurance, your care is quite different than someone who has to go to like a county hospital where they kind of herd you in and treat you like livestock. That's what I'm talking about. You have to have an advocate. Everybody needs an advocate, somebody that when you're laying there and you're hearing words, you have this condition, I know someone that was told you have stage 4 cancer, and then they said, it's very expensive, so I would just go home and prepare myself. That's horrible. But that kind of thing turns people off, and then they don't want to go to see the doctor. What I want you to do is, if that happens, you go in, you report that person, and you say, I want another doctor. And you become your own health advocate, because you can do that.
Yeah, that's very important.
So the UN just came out with a report about the, I think the whole world is going to start waking up and realizing, oh my God, global warming is real, because we have had rainstorms in California that are just shocking. We have flooding all over the place. I live in just the, main little part of town, and there's a freeway, 880, and the freeway flooded. They had to shut the whole thing down. You couldn't go north, you couldn't go south, and we had a landslide. So these types of things are happening. So the UN came out and they said, we have got to lower emissions, carbon emissions. And they set a target for 2040 for this to be done. Governor Newsom is trying to get California there by 2035. Some of the things he's trying to do, though, makes me go, what? Now, I like electric appliances. However, when you lose electricity, as a lot of us are right now, that means you can't cook, you can't do anything. They are wanting to restrict any new homes, any new purchases of ovens, ranges of that type, to no longer clothes washers and dryers, to no longer be electric. Everything, no longer be gas.
Everything is switching to electric.
And I understand that, but what that means is that if you do that, you're going to have to put backup power generators in every home, because you cannot take away the ability for people to cook.
Yeah, that's
true. Because there have been places in Northern California that were out of power for 3 to 4 days with our last 2 storms.
The last week we got out of power on the Tuesday. That's when they had like the high winds.
Right.
It was
70
really
miles
scary.
per hour
winds.
winds.
Yes, we were out of power for a whole day. Came back at 9:30. I heard people the next day saying, well, we've been estimated our power will come out. It was Wednesday, it won't come back till Saturday. And I know people that had power outages until Saturday. And then our power went out again a few days later, but luckily only half an hour.
Yeah.
But it's scary when it goes out because you lose all your food.
Yeah.
You can't really shower that well.
Yeah. Cold showers are like, we
lost internet access as well. So our phones weren't working either.
Yeah,
that
nothing,
was scary.
No television.
Yeah.
Nothing. Yeah. So now where we are, we've been getting the rain and the wind, and that's been, pretty scary. Well, on our border is the Sierras. So that's where the Tahoe and the Reno and, where we go for fun, where our local families go to ski And the ski season is amazing if if it ever slows down snowing, because they are getting feet of snow, like 26 feet of snow at a time. And so what the snow plows are doing is they're just going down and keeping the roads empty, and they're packing it up. So now as high as you can look is snow. It's a wall of snow. When that starts to melt, that's going to become an interesting situation too.
An issue.
Yes, very interesting issue. So right now, the Sierra, let's just say the Northern Sierra has 175% of snowpack, of the normal snowpack. I said 175%.
Wow.
Okay, of the whole season, they already got it. Then Central is 223%. Southern is 260%. So my question is, what's going to happen when all that starts melting? Because it could have flooding, severe flooding, that will roll into King River, San Joaquin River, and they are forecasting when it starts to warm up, and I'm sure they're going to be trying to put, piping so that they can force it off the roads where people won't just be driving and all of a sudden you're just flooding with ice and water.
Right.
But they're saying that this is going to run all the way from Yosemite all the way down to Bakersfield.
Wow.
That's a lot of land with running water. So I'm happy to see that the UN is, trying to do something. I just think that, as President Biden is always talking infrastructure, they have to figure out better ways how to capture this water. Because, even all the water that we got, and we're all like, thank you, God, we're out of the drought. And they're like, oh, no, not yet, because it's all going back to the ocean. Well, now that's poor planning on your part. You have to have reservoirs in which the water goes so that it can be utilized by the citizens. So even though things are getting better, we still have opportunities to improve, because Mother Nature is not playing.
They don't have, what Gloria's saying is correct. And I was thinking maybe they should put it out there if anyone has an idea, because especially in the Silicon Valley, we have so many people that are very smart.
Yes.
Come up with an idea, and then let's talk about it and see if it's feasible and viable.
Yes. Because we have to do something, doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Right now looks like nothing.
It's not going to happen.
Nothing's going to improve. So we really want to, pay some attention there. And the other thing, I just like Rosetta said, I mean, it was so windy yesterday, people couldn't even stand up straight. I mean, that wind was no joke. And pieces of limbs were just falling as you were driving, and trees.
Yes.
I mean, we're not talking about little bitty baby trees. We're talking 100-year-old trees just coming up by the roof base.
Well, yeah, and then we had some near our house, which was palm trees near our house, and they fell. And when those fall, they're big. They're not just like tiny branches. Yeah. So you can't be driving that fast. You have to be really careful. We had to slow down and go in between those, whatever they're called, the palm leaves that fell down.
Right.
And it's a lot. And even my sister said she got power outage again, she said.
Yeah.
It's becoming old.
Yes. And people are getting tired of it, but I don't know. So
well, it's not going to rain tomorrow.
That's right. How's the weather where you are? Let us know. Here we are sharing our woes. How is it where you are? Let us know. So I'm happy to report I haven't heard anything derogatory about COVID. There are people, I know Alyssa on The View was out this morning because she has COVID. It is definitely still around, and it's also cold and flu season normal. So we got that going on too. So, just be careful. If you don't feel well, just mask up, wash your hands, try and stay away from people. Don't share it.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, the CDC, I don't know what time they're going to do it. They're going to do a press announcement about COVID, the status of COVID. And where we are.
Okay. So I'll probably get some kind of alert on my phone.
Yeah. So we'll let you know next week, whatever we find out. So in the spirit of Women's Day, I want to read something to you. Rosetta and I, we were just talking about how do we start doing this and why do we do this? This is called the Native Way, Native American Culture. This is message from the Council of 13 Indigenous Grandmothers. As you move through these changing times, be easy on yourself and be easy on one another. You're at the beginning of something new. You are learning a new way of being. You will find that you are working less in the yang mode that you used to. You will stop working so hard at getting from point A to point B the way you have in the past, but instead will spend more time experiencing yourself in the whole. And you were in the whole you were placed in, and the whole is the whole of you. Where was I? Instead of traveling to a goal out there, you will voyage deeper into yourself. Your mothers, grandmothers knew how to do this. That's what we're talking about, why we don't do what we used to do. Your ancestors from long ago knew how to do this. They knew the power of the feminine principle, and because you carry their DNA in your body, this wisdom and this way of being is with you. Call on it. Call it up. Invite your ancestors in. As the yang-based habits and the decaying institutions on our planet began to crumble, did you hear that? Began to crumble. Yes. Look up. A breeze is stirring. Feel the sun on your wings. I thought that was just so beautiful because we're always talking about how do we get here? How did we go from our parents saying, no, you can't watch that program. No, you can't do that. No, you can't do it, to just free fall. You can do whatever you want to do. And a 6-year-old child going to school and shooting his teacher. We have come so far from this ancestral belief.
It's so great that we're allowed to evolve and to better ourselves with technology.
Yes.
And being not so conservative. But along with that, along those lines, yes, a 6-year-old gets a gun, goes to school and shoots the teacher because he's upset about something.
Yeah.
So we have to figure out a way, and we always talk about this in our chats, how we can get back to teaching children the basics in life. That's what we've forgotten. We've forgotten that. Children are our future. I always talk about that. Everyone, they're our future. We want them to be well equipped and educated so that then when they grow up, they have the knowledge to pass it down for generations to come to their children, children's children, children's children's children.
Yes.
And that's how we evolve as a nation, as as the globe, the whole world.
Yes.
Going back, I mean, we don't really want to go back to way back when, right?
No.
I mean, those were the days, right? There was good times and there was bad times.
Right.
But now we know better, we do better.
Yes.
So
that's what we want.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. So as we always conclude our chats, we feel the love in the room. We're so grateful that you take the time to spend with us, to watch our little tapes and, give us those thumbs up and let us know we're on the right track. If there's ever anything you want us to talk about, please let us know.
And she went back because she said, watching our tapes.
I did. Tapes.
You're wondering, what is a tape?
That's right.
Look it up.
That's right.
That's
part of the ancestralness of me.
Yes. But we really appreciate you coming by every week and checking out our chats over tea.
Yes.
And remember, we did say, hit that thumb icon. Please subscribe to our channel and hit that bell notification, everyone.
Whee!
We are Silicon Valley Girls Chat Over Tea.
And remember to always keep smiling. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.